Good morning. It's December 30. It's Monday. And only a couple more days left of this year. Well, the most exciting, obviously, Jimmy Carter's death yesterday left everybody flummoxed in the news media. And then the second piece of news was the South Korean plane that crashed on a 9,200-foot runway. And everything I've been able to, I know I know enough about flying that kind of a twin-engine jet as anybody else out there. I flew a Cessna a long time ago. You know, a prop that's in front with the wing above the fuselage. Yeah. Oh boy. Anyway, the stupid thing about this that I've discerned so far is that they had this concrete wall at the end of the runway. What the hell was that? You know, that's what made the plane explode. There were other conditions that were, here's my blood oxygen at 95. My pulse is at 80. You can see the pulse. Blood oxygen 96. There you go. New, directly from China. Amazing. Works on 2 AAA batteries. Anyway. Why? So someone looked at an aerial photograph and decided, so why have that concrete wall there to house certain equipment? You just have a little antenna sticking up somewhere. You don't need a concrete wall. So what would have happened, absent the concrete wall, is the plane would have skidded, across a little bit of a field, across a road, and into another field, which likely would have saved hundreds of lives. It's totally nonsense to have a reinforced concrete wall at the end of a runway. That makes no sense whatsoever. But there must have been some, aside from that, there were certain things that were, I heard from someone who's familiar with, that aircraft, is that all you have to do is push 3 levers and the landing gear will come down just by the force of gravity. It doesn't even need the electromechanical assist. Anyway, this kind of aircraft is the backbone of the air flight systems across the world. It's been in operation for 30 years or so. It's one of Boeing's most reliable aircraft. But this sucker was speeding. I mean, it was hot and high, as they say. It was a little too far elevated above the runway. You had 9,200 feet of runway, but it didn't touch down, until it was half of that 9,200 feet was, passed by before it touched down. But, it touched down. It was skidding fine until it smashed into that concrete wall. I mean, oh, gosh. Jeez. That's terrible. So they recovered the flight recorder, and apparently 2 crew survived. And it was probably the 2 crew that was strapped in at the very tail end of that aircraft. As you can see in most of the photographs, post-burn, the tail section is the only piece that's, relatively intact. Oh, jeez. So, so the next few days we're going to hear about Jimmy Carter and his contributions to, our society. New York Post had a, full cover photograph of our 39th president who lived to be 100 years old. The last 2 years, was not exactly life as you would think about it. He was in hospice for a couple of years, but he had all kinds of, medical attention his last year of life. I don't think he was, I don't know this for a fact, but he probably wasn't able to communicate much in his last year of life. But, he took his last breath yesterday, as they say. So, flags will be at half staff for 30 days, which, by the way, happens to overlap into Trump's inauguration and all that business. And Jimmy Carter's body will be in repose at the Rotunda in the United States Capitol, I believe. And there's, certain somewhat automatic statutory funeral proceedings, with a horse-drawn carriage going down, the main thoroughfare in Washington, D.C., with, marching armies and, the last I remember seeing of that is with the Kennedy funeral, which was sad indeed. So that'll be what is going to happen over the next 10 days. And somewhere in between there, the United States Congress needs to pick its Speaker of the House, because the Speaker of the House, statutorily speaking, is the person that receives the votes, the electoral votes from the Electoral College. That's on January 3rd, I believe, which is, next week. And then January 6th, then the Senate, gets it, and there's specific terminology for all this. But I know that the 3rd is a particular date that we need to have our Speaker of the House. And the presumption is our current Speaker of the House would become the new Speaker of the House. There are, 4 or 5 people that are collecting airtime saying, well, I wish it was this and I wish it was that, and he should be this and he should be that. Come on. All you guys get together, endorse the Speaker of the House. Let's get on with this so we can, get our 47th president inaugurated. Okay? So that his first 100 days in office, he hits the skids, in full speed. The transition team apparently is doing a yeoman's job and helping the president in the selection of his, top, I'll say 100. There are actually like 1,000 jobs in the White House. I think there's about a staff of 200 that are in the White House. The actual White House. And then the other 400 or 500 are in the Executive Office Building, which is right next to the White House. Yeah. It's a nice, big, beautiful office building. They call it the Executive Office Building. It's connected to the White House by a not-so-secret tunnel. It's not secret. It's managed by the Capitol Police, and only people with the proper clearances and so forth, or people escorted by people that have proper clearances. My daughter has such clearance, as she was the executive assistant to the director of the ATF. How about that? Of all things, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives. Most people leave off the and explosives part. They call it the ATF. Yeah. And when the director of the ATF, Ken Nelson, would travel, by airplane or whatever, he and Robin would walk backwards through the security. They didn't need security clearance because they had top secret security clearances. I forget, there's all kinds of, when you say top secret, there are lots of different kinds of secrets. I mean, there are probably 5 or 6 levels of top secret clearance. And I don't know what designation Robin had, but it was up there. It required extra scrutiny by the FBI and so forth. Check into her background and check into the background of the background. They call family members. I mean, it's amazing what the FBI does. In investigating the background of people that have top secret clearance. Yeah. It's a good thing. Hopefully they do a real good job of that. Last I heard from Robin in such matters, that she was being considered for an important post. And I can't say what. I'm sworn to secrecy. Yeah, I mean, really, I can't say. And I haven't heard from Robin in the last 10 days, but she was under consideration. So we'll see what happens. She'll be in Washington, D.C. In an important role. She's halfway through a law degree in cybersecurity, of all things. She's a specialist in cybersecurity. What someone might call an expert in cybersecurity. And certain people in the cabinet need kind of regular people that, in other words, not engineers. You got a lot of engineers in this cybersecurity, but when they talk to the cabinet members, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's like Greek. So you need someone between them to translate the engineering babble into babble that a cabinet member can, understand, in reasonable English language, so to speak. Although it might be lawyered a little bit. So anyway, Robin's being considered for some kind of a role in that. I'll have to send her a text and see if I can get an update on that for tomorrow's podcast, and whether it's still top secret as far as I don't remember getting any calls from the FBI, but I'll keep looking, watching my phone. But I don't take calls from phone numbers I'm not familiar with. But I'll look for the area code in case I get a phone call from one of those Washington area codes, which is like 201, I think, or 203, maybe. I have to look at my phone book. Yeah, but it comes up with the number and the city. And but if the phone number itself is not on my phone book, it goes to voicemail. On the second ring. So you got to be really fast. I don't even try. I just let it go to voicemail. Then I go retrieve the voicemail. every couple of days. Yeah. Being a man of my senior age, I don't get that many phone calls from Washington, D.C. But anyway, if I get one from the FBI, I better call that one back. What do you think? Yeah. Anyway, there's, as you can see, in living color, there's the 39th president dies at age 100. Jimmy Carter. James Earl Carter, I think was his full name. 1924 to 2024. Those are nice round numbers. Yeah. Peanut farmer from Plains, Georgia. Yeah, he was, this is a ridiculous thing to say, but I'm going to say it anyway because it happened to me often. About 35 years ago, that's round numbers. I did a lot of traveling 40 years ago and 35 years ago and 30 years ago. And I go through the Atlanta airport often to get a connecting flight of some sort. And I would be surrounded by people thinking that I was Jimmy Carter. So whatever the hell I looked like, 35 years ago, I looked like Jimmy Carter. It was the same hairdo or something or other. Yeah, I get people coming up to me for my signature. They think I was Jimmy Carter. That's a crazy coincidence, but that's the way it was. Marilyn looked at me like, "What the hell are you doing? Take that mask off, boy." Yep, they thought I was Jimmy Carter. And of course, when 2 or 3 people, start to surround you, then a whole crowd surrounds you. Yeah, I'd have crowds of people surrounding me thinking I'm Jimmy Carter. Oh, Lord. And it took a while to convince them I'm not Jimmy Carter. But thank you for the compliment. Oh, yeah. Yeah, celebrity's a wonderful thing. The lack of celebrity is even more wonderful. Success is built on the days you don't feel like showing up, but you do so anyway. Yeah, that's one definition of success. Success is built on the days you don't feel like showing up, but do anyway. Yeah. A couple of pronouns missing from that little saying. I grabbed it from Marilyn because she sent this. She has a little thread of 11 or 12 friends and family, and she comes up with a terse verse every morning to send everybody off, to begin their day. Well, this was today's terse verse, which I gleeped, trimmed, and there it is for your dining enjoyment. Yep. The day after Super Bowl is apparently the most the Monday after Sunday Super Bowl is the day that most people fail to come to work. They call in sick or call out sick. Yeah. Can you believe it? Of all the days out of the year, it's the day after Super Bowl in February, I guess it is. At Monday morning, they just can't get their butt out of bed and go to work. And it certainly does not follow this little saying. So get healthy and, don't stay up all night with the stupid Super Bowl. Get to work. Get to work on time. I used to tell my family, I'd clap my hands and say, okay, folks, it's showtime. When you walk out this front door, you're on stage. Life's stage. And getting to work on time means you're there 10 minutes early, at least. That's what getting to work on time means in the Wilson family. Yeah. Forget the 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute late. No. Don't waste everyone else's time because you're too lazy to get out of bed and do all your prerequisites on time. Yeah. Getting to work 10 or 15 minutes early is called on time. Not when the bell rings. 10 or 15 minutes before the bell rings. Yeah. Because just think about it. Everyone else got up. So they're waiting for you.
It's 9:45.
Here's a look. I have a little screen image capture for your dining and pleasure. This is here's a look at claims that caught our attention. This is, North Carolina. Look at all this stuff. Cement rollers. And look at this kind of thing. I mean, here you got. Look at all these. 18-wheelers. They're all upside down, laying in a pile, and you've got this wrecking crew kind of set up here with that, giant backhoe kind of a thing. And they're trying to pick up. It's not just a matter of bulldozing. Vegetation debris. You got houses, roofs, cement truck pieces. Look at all the cement truck things. They're just in a mess down there. That's someone's private property. This is all private property that's been, flummoxed with this. With the ravaging force of floodwaters in the high mountains due to hurricane conditions that went up through that whole area, came right up through the state of Florida, going right up, into South Carolina, North Carolina, and then off into the mountains. In Florida, when the rain hits, the water goes straight down because Florida is relatively flat. The average inclination is, 1/4 inch per mile. So the elevation, might be 1/4 inch higher a mile away. Well, in the mountain valleys of North Carolina, nothing's flat. Everything is mountains and mountain valleys and, all these beautiful, vegetative. Well, a lot of it got washed away, including all the apparatus, look at I'm doing expando here. Look at this thing. What? Just imagine they're going to need a crane just to get that thing out of there. And then to get that thing out of there, all these cement mixer, balls that are made out of steel and reinforced, because it tumbles 9 yards of cement mix when the cement mixer is traveling towards someplace to pour a foundation or something. But they got huge cleanup messes. You don't see anything that says FEMA on there, do you? No. Looks pretty quiet. Looks like there's not much happening, in this part of the Carolinas. Yep. That's your government at work. Or lack of. The homeless rate increases to 18%. Jesus. 18% across the U.S.? That's 1 out of 20? 1 out of 21 people are homeless? In the United States, that's terrible. Yeah. Jeez. Homelessness. Gee, that's a lot of S's. Rises to 18.1% across the United States this year. That's not ancient history, that's this year. There's a current picture of Barron Trump. Here's a veteran. And Barron Trump was reported to have given up his first class seat, and he gave it to a veteran. Another jackpot surpasses 1 billion. Is this the new normal for Mega Millions? So I guess that Mega Millions ticket I have didn't win on December 29th. Yeah, whatever here it is. Whoops. Encased in plastic. It's in my secret bag. A secret baggie. Yeah. With all the numbers on it. Apparently, a billion, 1.15 billion. So that means this one is even going to be bigger. I happen to have a lotto app on my phone here. Let's see if I can find that. That's not there. Let's do. There it is. Play responsibly. Allow. Yep. I have to enter my date of birth. Yeah, that proves that I'm over 18. Okay. Mega Millions. Did someone win it? This says December 31st. The jackpot is 20 million. That means someone must have won the drawing before that. Powerball is up to 163 million. Lottery, Lotto is 38 million. Gee. And you got to pick this, pick that, pick your nose. Yeah. Scratch offs. Mega Millions. $2 play, 20 million. Next drawing is tomorrow. Previous numbers was anyway, I don't know how to read that. This must be old news. Seems like someone already won or could be several people. It's about a 300 million to 1 shot. Not exactly a very not a very smart bet. But yeah, what the heck. Throw out a couple of bucks, see what happens. Jeff Bezos' Miami neighborhood you could buy an empty lot for about $27.5 million in this certain community, in Jeff Bezos' community down there in Miami. Now they're asking $200 million for that vacant lot. And the vacant lot is still vacant. Can you imagine a lot for $27.5 million is a lot of money for a lot. You can see the lots. You know, this is like what Judge Mushan said up in Palm Beach, where Mar-a-Lago is worth about $18 million. The swimming pool is worth $18 million. Jesus, these hockey pucks. And Trump overstated on his financial statement. Mar-a-Lago. Yeah. He bought it for a little under $10 million. You know, a long time ago. 20 years ago. It's the whole tip of the island of Palm Beach. If you include going across the street into the beach and all the way over to the intercoastal, it's like 54 acres. You know, Mar-a-Lago per se is sitting on 20 acres. But you got a lot of other acres, you know, that has to do with the beachfront that they also own, you know. All right, here's good news for electric car enthusiasts. This is the owner of a Model S, a Tesla Model S. He's had it for 9 years, and it still has 250 miles worth of range. And over those 9 years, the battery is a bunch of batteries, you know, about 5,000 little, they call them 18650 batteries, which are well known in Europe. It's a battery that's, you know, about the size of my thumb, you know, plus a little bit. Which is a lot bigger than a AA, you know, 18650, meaning 18 millimeters in diameter and 650 millimeters tall. They call it the 18650. And the Model S had about 5,000 of those little batteries. You add them all up and you put them in groups. I think they had 14 groups of like 440 batteries. So you multiply 440 by 18. Do I have my trusty calculator right here? This is now from memory. So there are 14 groups times 440 batteries. 6,160 batteries. Yep. There are 14 groups of 440 cells. They're separated into groups because they were charged. You know, they had a charging panel, solid state device sitting on that package of 440 cells that were in series and parallel, so that it offered 25 volts at so many amps. And if you multiply 25 times 14, you're going to get 300 and some. Yep, look at that, 350 volts. That's how the Model S batteries were configured. 14 groups of 440 cells delivering 25 volts and X number of amps, you know, and you connect all those up in series, you end up with 350 volts. So when you plug into a supercharger, which has 350 volts of direct current, that goes right into those batteries. That's why they call it supercharger, because there's direct current going right into a direct current battery. Now, if you have 230 volt service in your home or garage, a similar kind of a circuit like you have for your dryer, your electric dryer, you know, that's usually like a 32 amp circuit at 230 volts. That's level 2 charging. Now what that does, that feeds AC current into 2 separate chargers that are inside the Tesla vehicle. So when you plug in to your dryer circuit or a similar circuit, you're throwing that 230 volts into 2 separate chargers, and then those 2 separate chargers then each charges half of the battery, and the other charger charges the other half of the battery. Divides the battery up into 2 7. So if 25 volts is coming out of one of those packs times 7, 175 volts. Yeah, I remember seeing that. When I plug in, we got I think a 32 amp circuit in our garage here in this building, in my parking spot. Yeah. So that 230 volts gets leveraged down to like 175 or 185, and that's the AC voltage that's being applied to both the chargers. Because remember, we're dividing up the battery into two TWO, two 7 packets of batteries. Each packet has 440 batteries in it. In a series and parallel configuration. I think they're like, 3 rows of 72 or something. 21. It must be 6 rows of 72. And then they're hooked up in series and in parallel so that the output voltage is 25 volts and a bunch of amps. Yeah, lots of amps. Because the overall battery can throw out a peak up to 2,000 amps. Whew. That's a lot of amps. Anyway, so this guy, his battery is decreased in range about 15% over 9 years. Yeah. Most of that 15%, gets knocked down in the first couple of years. I turned in a 3-year-old Model Y, and that battery decreased in range about 11% in 3 years. So a 330 volt battery, a 330 mile range battery, got reduced by about 40 miles in range. So instead of 330, it was 290. Yep. I turned that sucker in at about 290 miles in range. And, I didn't run it out of juice. I rarely ever charged it to 100%. Although you can. And they say, not on an everyday basis. But, if you're going away on a trip, so to speak, or you're going to be away and don't want to have to charge every once in a while, it's just like with gasoline. Fill up the tank so you don't have to go to the gas station again during the week. Yeah, you don't want to keep going to the gas station, 3 times a week. You got better things to do than to sit there and have to screw around with put gasoline in the tank. Well, same thing with electricity. You don't want to have to hang around, and go to the charge up, and go to the well every, 3 or 4 times a week. You want to fill it up and, plug in, maybe twice a week. That's what we're doing. We're plugging in about twice a week. And that services our mileage requirement, which is, about 6,500 miles a year. In 3 years, we'll put 20,000 miles on the car on a 3-year lease, which is good for 30,000 miles. But I only would have put 20,000 miles on it. So what they would call an under mileage when you turn it in. Yeah, seriously under mileage. When you go over 30,000 miles, they charge you like 25 cents a mile. When you're under mileage, you don't get a credit. No, that's just a bonus to the Tesla people. They get a car that's under mileaged. I mean, the tires look like they were brand new. Full tread. I wasn't, I brake before turns instead of braking during a turn. That chews up a lot of rubber when you're applying the brakes through a turn. You want to slow down coming into the turn. Yeah. Anyway. So we didn't need any new tires. We didn't need any new anything. We just had a little dent on the driver's side, which exceeded the normal wear and tear by about 55 miles. $55. So I had to pay a fee of $55 to turn in my Tesla because of excess wear and tear. It was a fairly decent depression, about an inch. Didn't break the metal, but it was, it was pushed in pretty good. The edge of someone's car apparently came in contact with my driver's side door. Yep. All right. You look at this top of this headline. Apple Watch is the ultimate fitness companion. And you can see the different kinds of graphics. You got body temperature. You can see the change in your body temperature. There's a line going across there on that one. And then you see it goes down, and then body temperature increases. So, it doesn't, the body temperature doesn't give you like a value of, your 98.6. You wouldn't use it like if you had a fever. This is like workout, and you can see where your body temperature is over or under the baseline of your body temperature as it reads it from the top of your wrist. Yep. There's a sensor in there measuring body temperature. Sleep recovery. Okay. This is respiration rate. So you can see when your heart rate is going up and you're exercising, you can see the how your respiration rate. The baseline is 21 breaths a minute, and you can see with the exercising that the breathing rate went up to 32 or 3. All right. Here's another chart of the Apple Watch is measuring your resting heart rate. So there's the baseline of your heart rate, which looks like, 66. Something like that. And you can see the sleep recovery of the resting heart rate, which I'd have to read the definition of what that means. Just from looking at it, I can't tell what that would mean. And from all these graphs, I can't tell whether that is a healthy person or a not so healthy person. But anyway, the watch tracks all that stuff and is apparently a really, really good fitness companion. Apple Watch is the ultimate fitness companion. Well, I could have told you that. I've been wearing them for, 10 years. That was however long they've been making Apple Watches. 8 years? 9 years? Mega meltdown. as Elon Musk threatens war like you've never seen before. Yeah. He's looking at and getting opinions about the economic status of the United States balance sheet, United States government balance sheet. And it's a pretty sad affair. I remember doing a little study on that myself when I was active in the banking business. And I said to myself, if I took off all the zeros and made it tens of thousands instead of these billions and trillions, would I make the United States government a residential home loan? And I came up with the answer of no. I would not approve the United States government for a residential loan. And I forget the parameters, but they're everything that you're reading in the news. Yeah. So here's a little doodad about Jimmy Carter, the peanut farmer. Yeah. So he has his 100-year life has finally come to an end. Yep. So according to the United States government, the Department of Veterans Affairs, the United States flag shall be at half staff for 30 days at all federal buildings, grounds, and naval vessels throughout the United States, its territories, and on the waters of the world. Yep. That's the rule after the death of the president or former president of the United States. So that means on Trump's inauguration on January 20th, 2025, which is in, 20 days or so, all flags will be already at half staff, honoring the late President Jimmy Carter, the longest living U.S. Commander-in-Chief. Died at his home in Plains, Georgia, according to his son Chip. So there'll be all this, pardon the expression, this Jimmy Carter business is going to be circulating through the hallowed halls of Washington, D.C. I see on my trusty little doodad there, I got a call from Humana. I guess that's my insurance company until January 1st, because on January 1st, History Bob, I have these new cards for my Cigna insurance. I changed insurance, and now I have Cigna. Here's my Cigna Healthy Today debit card, where they put money in there every so often, and I can spend it on certain medical, kinds of supplies. in like CVS. I've had a couple of these, and I don't think I've ever spent 10 cents out of it. Anyway, so I got my Signa cards ready to flop into my storage device, which I keep in my back pocket with all my, well, the few credit cards, debit cards that I carry with my driver's license, my concealed weapons carry license. Yeah, I got a concealed weapons carry license. Forget how much that cost. Probably like $150. Had to go to class. I had to go to class firearms training, shooting in the range, and all that stuff. I got a certificate of good standing that I have a basic understanding on how to provide for the safety of a firearm and barrel forward and down. Don't wave that pistol all over the place. All right, here's another. Here's a doodad which I thought about the last couple of hurricane seasons. Is that we need to have a Category 6 storm. It shouldn't just go to Cat 5. It should go to Cat 6, which would mean sustained winds of 192 miles an hour or more, which would also produce a storm surge of 25 feet, a wall of water of 25 feet high. That's over mean, the mean height of the tide. That's 25 feet over whatever the tide is. If it's high tide when the storm hits and your surge hits, then that 25 feet could be 32 feet. If the high tide is 6.5 foot level. I was just making up a story. Yep. So they either are, they're contemplating creating an ultra intense Category 6, which would mean catastrophic damage. If the eye of the storm went over your place of residence, and a 25-foot storm surge. Ouch. That's what this panel is delineating. Can you imagine? 20 Category 6. Over 192 miles an hour. Stepping foot on the moon is not only one of NASA's greatest achievements, but is also one of mankind's as a whole. So why haven't we gone back in over 50 years? So if it's one of mankind's star achievements, here's a picture of, the spacesuit and the boot. A guy walking on the moon, leaving a footprint there. And there you see planet Earth in the background of this picture. It's instead of a moonrise, it's an Earthrise. Yeah. So how come we haven't gone back in 50 years? Well, I read the whole article. And you know why we haven't been back in 50 years? because of politics. They either didn't have the money because it takes so many billions of dollars to do it. You got training, you got astronauts, astronaut training. You have to have backup astronaut training, in case one of your astronauts gets sick. They won't launch you into space if you're sick. You may get sick while you're in space, but they're not going to launch you sick. That's about as good as they can do, right? Sometimes disease takes, a week or so of gestation in your body before it starts producing side effects like runny noses and all that kind of business. Like if you had a common cold or a not so common cold. Yep. Anyway, so we're going to go back to the moon. And the only purpose in the moon thing is it's going to be like a staging area for our quest onward to Mars. And remember, the moon, rotates or revolves around the Earth's axis in a somewhat elliptical orbit of about 30 days. Trump endorses Mike Johnson to keep the speakership. He is a good, hardworking, religious man, and he will do the right thing. I think Johnson is a very mild-mannered. He's like a perfect balance in the Republican Party. I think he's a good balance. He's not gonna. Nobody's 100% happy with him. That sounds like a good leader of a diverse Republican Party. You got a few on the fringes that are complaining, this and that, but, bottom line is all of them, maybe except for one, will vote for Johnson and get it over with. Because we need a Speaker of the House to receive the Electoral College votes. Can you imagine? If we don't have a Speaker of the House, he never gets the 312 electoral votes, which makes Trump the winner of the election. Right now, he's president-elect. And we need to get by January 3rd, and then January 6th is several days afterwards. It gets the Electoral College votes, gets formally presented to Congress. Yeah, including the Senate. Yeah, Congress as a whole. And they accept the vote counts and the certifications from each of the states. And that basically, concludes the whole election cycle. Then it's just a matter of being sworn into the office. And that happens on the 25th, a couple of weeks after that. Yeah. So Donald Trump has moved remarkably fast. If not unexpectedly fast, very fast, and quickly to name his picks for the top leadership roles in his administration. And there are 40 or 50 of these people, including Secretary of Defense Peter Hegseth, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and you got the director of the CIA and the ABC and the Justice Department, the head of the Federal Reserve. Although that guy supposedly has a 6-year term, which isn't up until next year sometime. So I think they're going to squeeze him out and put in Scott Bessent. Bessent. That's him speaking right there. Economic guru type guy that knows how to deal with the macroeconomics of our government and our trade policy and the strength of the U.S. dollar, and all that kind of stuff. Yep. All right. Now, sometimes people at year end, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, turkey is Thanksgiving, and then ham, of all things, is oftentimes a New Year's delight. One year, we cooked one of these guys, prime rib. And the basic thing about this prime rib business is that a rib roast, all rib roasts are not prime. There could be choice. There could be other USDA quality rating. But a prime rib roast has a certain amount of marbling, which is the striations of fatty tissue within the muscle. As you can see, a non-prime, this would be prime meat. You can see this fat. Well, the fatty part. Not this fatty part. Not that big fat part, no. Although you want some of that. But you don't eat it, But the fat that's the striations that are in the meat here, that you would eat. And that has all the flavor. The fatty tissue has all the flavor. Would you believe it? I cooked one of these. This is a boneless. I cooked one with a bone. And matter of fact, it was just like this. 4 bones. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that 4-bone segment of the prime rib roast weighed about 9 1/4 pounds. Cost me several $100s. I forget what it was, $20 a pound. It was, $22 a pound, something like that. So we'll see what it is. Well, I don't know what we're, I have a feeling Maryland's going to default to the ham for New Year's Day dinner that we will have prepared at our place. Yeah. Anyway, so there was an article about rib roasts and prime rib roasts and whether you serve them for Christmas dinner or New Year's dinner. But all rib roasts are not the same. If you buy the entire rib roast, it weighs about 16 pounds. I bought half of one. We didn't need 16 pounds of meat. Not for 5 people. No. All right, here's a interesting archaeological find. Look at this. This is a sword. It has some hieroglyphics, some kind of a language that's engraved on the end of that handle. And then here's the sword itself. And over thousands of years, these metals tend to dissolve, in the earth and the soil. That's wherever it was dug up from. And this was the Anglo-Saxon burial site near Canterbury, England. Yes, sir. I saw us near Canterbury. Well, the famous Sutton Hoo sword. Who? Who? H-O-O. Yep. 6th century life in the region. 6th century. Yep, we're in the 20th century. So that's 1400, 1400, 1500 years ago. Yeah. We've been carrying around swords for thousands of years. Yep. These medieval weapons, which has drawn comparisons to the famous Sutton Hoo sword, spelled H-O-O. Hoo! That's a big sword. Yeah. Give us insights into what the 6th century life in that region was like. The archaeologists discovered this rare 6th century sword in the Anglo-Saxon burial site near Canterbury, England. There you go. Yep, wearing glasses, I'm wearing gloves, special lighting. Yeah, there's the sword sitting on some kind of a material to keep it intact so it doesn't break in half. It obviously doesn't have a sharp blade on it, Yeah. So that caught my eye in reading the various news sources that I subscribe to. Steve Bannon, a known fellow from being in the first Trump panel of people that would give him advice. Steve Bannon, I don't think is necessarily on that list, but he might be. Elon Musk's war with MAGA continues to burn. And now Steve Bannon has entered the conversation. Elon Musk's war with MAGA. Make America Great Again. And I don't exactly understand what Steve Bannon's gripe is, but it seems like a lot of these guys are spoiled brats. You know, they don't get everyone to think exactly the way they want to think. You know, they create problems. Now here's a gentleman that basically came up with what I was talking about earlier. He says there is absolutely no justification for there to be a reinforced concrete wall to be at the end of the runway of a 9,200 foot runway. If that wall wasn't there, the plane would have skidded across an open field. It would have skidded across a road, you know, and then skidded across, you know, another empty field, probably giving it plenty of time to slow down to a stop. And then many survivors could deplane. This one senior party said he brought down the plane beautifully, given the circumstances, albeit going rather fast. And the plane was fully intact as it slides along the ground. But when it hit the wall, it exploded. And basically killed everybody but two. And they were, I'll bet, from what I've seen, they're in that tail section. Yeah. They were strapped in at that tail section. I'm looking back. My fucking wagon. Yeah, here we go. Oh, this is another crashed plane. Where the tail section, there were 25 people or so in the last 9 rows of this plane that survived the crash. Supposedly a bunch of birds hit it. Yeah. Azerbaijan say the Russians downed the plane for God knows what reason. Yep, so you got a couple of plane crashes in the last week or so, which is not a good thing. There's Marilyn's brother's daughter. That's over here. Whatever you call those people. Nice young lady. And they're, you know, like 30 years old. 33 years old, something like that, maybe. And this is Marilyn's cousin's wife. Whatever that is. I'm just the guy that takes the pictures. Panda Express, Chinese kitchen. I'd like to go to that place. Here's Lee and Robin. When they were little tiny weasels. They're now 50. Can you believe it? That's a picture I took with a Hasselblad camera. Hasselblad. I've digitized it. So this is Robin's special hairdo. You see little braids. She is so proud of her little braids. And she smiles for a moment after they jump off Santa's lap. They want to get away from his old, crusty old soul. Yeah. We went over to see. This is Marilyn. And this is Marilyn's sister. And that's her husband. And so this is Jimmy with glasses on top of his head. And so this is Marilyn's sister's side of the family. Here's our number 4 son with hand up, standing next to Papa. Brennan couldn't come with us because he was working at the Royal Palm Yacht Club. He works in the back of the house, preparing all the marvelous lunches and dinners that they get over there. Yeah. The average home in there is $13.5 million. Ouch. That's a lot. And this was the menu that he had to supply the food for. Roasted beets, Parmesan persimmon salad, feta cheese, arugula, pomegranate vinaigrette, salads and cheese, kale and romaine Caesar parmesan, a sourdough, croutons, and the Caesar dressing. I'll have a cup of soup, please. There's mac and cheese for the kids, chicken fingers and french fries, Frank's in a blanket, and a bowl of diced fruit. You can see that's handwritten in there. They need a Steinway piano moved from someplace to someplace. Music by Michael Muskie. Apparently that has a musical accompaniment. Okay. Adults dinner was $98. Kids $38. 3-year-olds and under are free. Seating times 2 until 5:30. And there's the 2 until 5:30. 201. We're in the 2 to 3. And then from the 3:30 to 4:30, the 3:30 to 4:30 zone, there was 203 reservations. And there was 111 from 5 to 5:30. That's 515 reservations. Whew. $500 times 100. That's $51,000 worth of dining for this Christmas meal. There you go. Say 50,000. That's pretty serious. 4 chefs. 6 people on the cutting boards. 6 gravy trays. And 4 carvers. And there's Brennan as one of the carvers. Oh, nice. Yeah. I think it's. Oh, watch this. Marilyn photographed these two guys when we were riding home. It's one of these live view. Let me change that to loop. There you go. There, now it's looping. It's going over and over again. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah. We're riding on I-75. Heading east, young man. There's our two little passengers. Well, this holiday season, we've had 107,000 automobiles riding around between family and friends. We had 7.85 million people flying. And that's gone through TSA. 4.47 million people on trains or buses, for a total of 120 million people traveling around for the year-end holiday travel forecast. And travel times could be 30% longer than normal. Oops, there you go. 30% longer than normal. These are in millions, by the way. And this is from the American Automobile Association. They keep track of such things. There's our little holiday setup. Marilyn received a package. There's the gas prices, according to AAA. Averaging $3.04 a gallon. This is a smattering of health metrics that gets transmitted from the Apple Watch into the iPhone, so that you get this very detailed information about your sleeping, your heart rate, your average heart rate, the heart rate variability. We can see that the heart rate variability should range between 35 and 57 milliseconds. And you can see your metrics at a glance. Beats per minute. There's the heart rate variability. There's the baseline body temperature, 36.5 degrees centigrade. Here's the breathing rate per minute, 11.5 breaths per minute. That seems a little slow. And the blood oxygen at 97%. Yeah. There you go. Things are getting very complicated when it comes to all this stuff that comes into the Apple, the iPhone, and every day. I mean, it's like it takes your pulse, your readings 700 times a day. Now, can you imagine the type of electronics that you'd have to have strapped to your body 20 or 30 years ago, which now is all incorporated right onto your wrist? On my wrist, I can actually see the miles of range in my car. And it says, I'll do a, oops, didn't work. Didn't work. Trying to get a print screen. I did it so well. I'm trying. There we go. I finally got a print screen in my watch. Got it to me 5 times. Let's see. It should be coming up on the screen. There it is. Isn't that amazing? I can set a timer, a 10-minute timer. I just press this, and it sets it up for 10 minutes. Now I can change it to whatever time I want, but I just have it set for 10 because pasta takes me 10 minutes for al dente spaghetti, which I'm going to cook some al dente spaghetti, I think, today. Yeah. Marilyn made me some ham sandwiches. I'll probably have at least one of those. They're all wrapped up in aluminum foil. There are like 6 of them. She made me 8. I couldn't. She ate one and I ate one. She put 4 down in front of me. I said, Marilyn, I can't eat 4 of these. I wasn't feeling well yesterday. I don't know. I just didn't feel that snappy, so I didn't want to load myself up with a big lunch thing. So I had one sandwich, one ham sandwich on those Hawaiian bread rolls. Oh, ham and butter on a Hawaiian bread, or in Hawaiian bread. Just magical. Now, if I have a sandwich today, which I'm likely to have, I put it in the microwave for 11 seconds, and it comes out beautifully. Oh my God. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Cut it into quarters, and then put it in the microwave for 10 seconds. Just to get the refrigeration out of the bread. I don't want to eat a cold sandwich. I want to eat a warm sandwich. Not a ham sandwich, not a hot sandwich. Just a warm sandwich. Yeah, it's 10:57. It's almost 11. Phew. Wow, time flies. That's... God. How many hours? How much time have I been yakking here? Let's see. 1 hour and 40 minutes and 25 seconds. I can see I'll show it to you. I'll bring it closer. There it is. 1 hour and 40 seconds. 1 hour and 40 minutes. 41 seconds, 42, 43, 41. It's magical, huh? How that keeps track of that. I just have that sitting right over there on a little magnetic stand. and it tells me how long I've been yakking it. And boing, sorry, just bang my. That's why they call it a boom mic, because it goes boom. If you do that, it's a nice. I have it hang suspended right here. I push it back, I pull it this way, and it's perfectly aligned so that I can have it right next to myself for a nice transmission of my voice. Yeah. Here's my Smithsonian coin, which, look at that, reflective. This is a proof coin, which means that when the mint stamps out the silver metal, it gives it a double hit. Yeah, a double tap, and that's what gives it the mirror finish that you can see as I.
It's 11 o'clock.
There, you see the mirror finish. Yeah, it's amazing. All right, it's 11 o'clock. I just heard my computer talk to me, which you may have heard it. Every 15 minutes, this thing tells you the time, which is kind of handy as time flies. All right, folks, this is a simulcast over Twitter Live, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live. I'm commercial members of Facebook. All three of those social networks, and this podcast goes across all three of those social networks simultaneously at the exact same moment in time, like right now. You know. Whew. This is the print screen on my watch, in case you forgot. See, Model Y, got my phone number there. 147 miles of range left, so Marilyn, when she gets home from work today or tomorrow, will plug it in and give it the year-end charge. Yeah, we'll charge it up all the way to 100% or 99%. We'll charge it up to 99%. Just to, so we get, we got the car on March 18th. So this way we'll see what the year-end result is, and, March 18th, I'll look at those numbers, print them out, because that would be the first full year of driving the second Tesla that we've had. We had the first one for 3 years. It was more, how many service appointments? None. How about that? No oil filter, no oil changes. Not of this, not of that, All I do is keep the air pressure in the tires up to 42 psi, and there's nothing to do. Everything works just fine. So their manufacturing techniques have been pretty good, at least for the last 4 or 5 years. That's the magic of what Tesla has, because they have a blueprint, if you will. They have a blueprint for their factory, which is the machine. Considering everything in the factory, let's consider that a machine. And what does it do? It makes machines. It makes Tesla vehicles. And, you know, it pops them out at the rate of almost 2 million a year. It's getting up to that 2 million mark. You know, build another factory, you get another 500,000 or 600,000 cars a year. I mean, it's under, you know, I imagine you could turn up the volume, you could pump out vehicles. The last I heard, there was a Tesla car coming out of the factories every 33 seconds. It gives birth to another Tesla vehicle. One every 33 seconds. That's kind of amazing. Because when they first built the factory, when they were fine-tuning it, you know, it was producing 10 a day. Now it's one every 33 seconds. Yeah. And that'll get better. You know, it'll be one every 30 seconds before you know it. And that's it. I mean, you know, because the factories are 94% automated. And now Tesla is making these robots, and they expect to make 1,000 robots next year. And a certain number of those robots are going to be dispersed within the factories to, you know, do menial things that humans used to do. And now the robots are going to do it. So you got robots controlling the robots. Because, you know, it's all robotics inside the Tesla plant. And you're going to have robots walking around in the Tesla factory. That'll be a sight to be seen. Well, that's coming because Elon Musk has the blueprint now for their Optimus robot. That's what they call it. Optimus. Spelled exactly the way it sounds. And they've come up with version 3. And they're fine-tuning version 3 with major fine-tunes, actually. They don't want to call it version 4. So they're doing major upgrades to the third version of Optimus. So that, you know, year end, which is now. So in the first quarter of 2025, they'll be manufacturing at the rate of about 1,000 a year. Now they're going to turn that up, you know, to higher levels. But, you know, they start off, you know, 3 or 4, 1,000 per year is 3 a day. So, I mean, remember they were pumping out Tesla cars when they started 5 a day. Then it was 7 a day. Then it was 10 per day. Now it's every 33 seconds. Well, the same thing with the Tesla robot. It is going through the factory lines are being established right now, actually, so that it can produce 3 a day. Through the automation of the Tesla factory, I think in Austin, Texas, they'll have obviously a separate line, production line, so that these robots are going to kick off the assembly line at the rate of 3 a day. You know, then it's going to be 4 a day, then it's going to be 7 a day, and it's going to be 10 a day. And they're going to have an army of these robots, you know, running around the Tesla factories doing manual things, you know, that they couldn't quite make automated. Well, so instead of the people picking up this thing and putting it over here, the robot will pick this thing up over here and put it over there. and it'll sit there and it'll do it all day long. Doesn't need a dinner break, doesn't need a lunch break. It's just about every 2 or 3 hours, it'll back up into a little charging spot and charge itself. That's automated also. Then after it charges up the batteries, then it'll work another 4-hour shift. And it takes 10 or 15 minutes for it to charge up. And it'll do that 4 times a day, assuming the factory is running 24/7, which there's no reason why it wouldn't. Yeah. I mean, just think of the supply line. You got to have all these nuts and bolts and screws and washers and the special motors and the contactors. I'm thinking of the robots now. The shell, all these, the supply line to create the robots. And then they'll have a gymnasium full of these robots, all standing up next to each other with charged batteries. Donald Trump just posted, I'm looking over here, just posted a message on Truth Social. And a federal judge has just ordered an investigation into the illegal sale of border wall materials, like the wall itself. They have like 5 or 6 of these iron beams that are 35 feet tall, are welded together in a special way, so that they're all perfectly vertical, and they embed them in 6 or 8 feet of concrete, and they let it down with a crane, then they form it up so that it is straight up and down, and then they pour the concrete. Yeah. And they put the barriers and so forth, and they get it all level, and that's how they build the wall. And you're talking about inserting. That's probably 15 feet sections. They keep on setting them, every day. Another 15 foot, 30 feet of wall goes up every day. Per crew. You might have 5, 8, 10 crews. Because you have them in Arizona, have them in Texas, big border in Texas, southern border of California. And that border wall was basically designed, Trump put it out for, I wouldn't call it bidding, but the border wall people designed 5 different versions of the wall. And the 5 different versions were then constructed and put in place, and then the border wall people then picked the one they liked the best. And what's being installed by Trump in his first term as president was what they picked. And they're going to continue with the same design and finish the wall. And now that they've had experience with it, because I believe I heard, read, or otherwise that there's 540 feet of wall installed. So And we have another 500 miles worth of wall, and there's another 400 miles left to do. Yeah. Okay, that's the latest report from here. I'm on the air for 1 hour and 56 minutes, as you can see right here with my fancy timer. I'll just leave it there for now. And I'm going to end this broadcast with about 30 or 40 seconds worth of uninterrupted epidemic instrumental, our royalty-free background music, theme song, whatever you want to call it. Well, look at this. I got my Doge shirt on again. DOGE. Department of Stop Spending Money. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow about 9 o'clock.